cabinet graveyard, where some truly great machines come to die. When once, these great machines used to battle each other for popularity in every arcade across the country. So they've retired here, gathering garbage juice. The threat didn't start here though. The first console to totally bring the arcade experience home was actually engineered in Japan. Put simply, the Neo Geo, it's a powerhouse. It's a powerhouse that we never got here in Australia. But you know, we all saw the game footage. We knew that the arcades, they were dealt a pretty heavy blow. When people knew that someplace, somewhere, people were playing games like this at home. People started saving those $1 and $2 coins instead of feeding the cabinets, which was a bit of a bummer. By the time you imported a Neo Geo and bought a handful of games, it cost about the same as a car. So the thought of the Neo Geo was really exciting, but you know, it was a little bit out of reach. All those arcade cabinets, they breathed a sigh of relief. A few years later though, the Neo Geo went CD. Those massive cartridges that were once like, you know, $200, all that could easily fit on a disc. All that made the Neo Geo a way more affordable console. So I've been forced to launder money from my little brother, but I think anyone can agree that this is a hyper cool payoff. The games, they play exactly like they were on cartridge, except for one hyper messed up trade-off: the load times. So many of those killer fighting games, especially the state-of-the-art ones like Last Blade, Samurai Showdown 4, King of Fighters, they just don't mix that well on CD. You get better sound effects and audio, but the loading times, they can stretch on forever. But look dudes, this is the Neo Geo we're talking about here. It's definitely not all bad news. The arcade experience, it's more than just about the fighters. There are heaps of action games, beat 'em ups and shoot 'em ups as well. That's actually probably why SNK brought out these heaps more conventional controllers. So these controllers, they just remind me heaps of the Super Nintendo controllers. Just no shoulder buttons, and they swapped out the D-pad for a thumbstick. But I can fully appreciate that these controllers, they'll be way more suited to a wider variety of games. Fear not dudes, if you're hardcore enough, you can still get the full-size joysticks, and they'll fit into the CD unit fine. So the Neo Geo CD, it's a pretty big console, severely understyled, but you know, pretty intimidating. So the games themselves, they come in CD cases, and I guess that's a little bit dull. And seriously dudes, over here in Australia, CD is such a new technology. We really needed like a different size box or something to tell them apart from the audio CDs. The CDs themselves, they look pretty slick though. None of the Neo Geos have region locks, and all the language in the game is set by the console. A handful of the games actually just let you straight up change the region in the game, which is cool, you know, especially if you've got your hands on an American console and you want the blood switched on. So the Neo Geo, it pretty much established itself as the premium gaming console, especially the cartridge version, the AES. Of course, you're pretty much limited to SNK games, but dudes, that's no drawback. And seriously dudes, the Neo Geo, it's the only way to play some of those classic SNK games that just never made it out to other systems.